How do? JR here. Welcome to video 3 of our Carrack building tutorial. I wanted to do a video specifically about the theory behind magnets. Both the Carrack and the Arrow are very magnet heavy, which is because they've got so many interchangeable parts, landing gears, wings, aerials, you name it. There's so much stuff that's interchangeable. So a lot of these models are held together with magnets. We've come up with what we think is a really, a quick, simple way of doing magnets, and just want to reiterate it to you guys. I know we've taken you through it on streams and stuff before, but I thought it'd be nice just to do a dedicated video of the theory of these magnets. So what do we need? Patience. Magnets. We do have the new Carrack tool, the Carrack stick, which you don't need, but I'll show you why it's quite useful. Cotton buds, we would definitely recommend these. Glue. So I would go for a gel. This is cyanoacrylate glue. I would go for a gel just because it gives you a little bit more time to play with. And this is a backing of some double-sided tape. It's basically a very waxy bit of paper. It just means you can put a pool of glue on it and it doesn't soak into this, so the glue lasts longer. But normal bit of paper or something like that, a bit of plastic will do. And a knife just in case we need it. So, and a Sharpie. Very important to have a Sharpie. So, how do we start this? Well, the big issue with magnets is making sure that they're all in the right polarization. Because if we flip over a magnet, then it's going to be repelling the part out rather than sucking it in. So these magnets do not come with markings for which is north and which is south, so we kind of have to do that. And that's really the trick behind all this. Now, it doesn't matter if we use north or south, as long as we're consistent through the whole build. So we don't need to use a tool to find out which polarity these magnets are, we just need to be consistent. So the way we're going to be consistent is using the Carrack tool. So you don't need to use this, but this is quite a nice way of doing it. If you don't have a Carrack and you're doing this with a different model, just a plastic stick of some sort to glue a magnet to. Now the Carrack stick has this gap at the top for one of our 5mm magnets that you get with the kit. So step 1 is to glue a magnet into the end of this. Now, this is one of those things where it really doesn't matter what way round we do it. So we're just going to put a little dab of glue in the end of this and just pop our magnet in like that. And we don't care which way around this magnet is, but the way this magnet is going to set our standard for the whole model. So that's it in there. We'll just let that dry. So while we are letting that dry, we'll prep some of the other bits. So cotton buds, these are really interesting and useful. So what I do is just twist the ends off one end. There we go. And leave the other end on. We'll do that to a few because we'll use a few. Okay. So what we're going to do is use these to basically place the magnets into the holes. So the part we're going to use as an example is the wing. So this is a in-flight wing, so it's facing back the way in the model. And it's going to go in here. We prepped it in the last video, so it's a nice loose fit into that, and the magnet's going to hold it in. So we need to be putting a magnet on the inside of here and in the end of this. So 2 magnets to do the job. So now we've got our magnet glued into our Carrack stick. We take our Sharpie and just put a dot on the end of our magnet. Cool. So now we've marked the outside face of this magnet is our outside face that we're going to put our Sharpie on. We then take the rest of the magnets, whether that be the 5mm magnets or the 3mm magnets. In this case, we're doing a bit with 5mm magnets. And we stick that to the end. So this whole raft of stick is in the same polarity as the magnet that we stuck into the end. So we can take our pen again, put our dot on the end of the magnet, take that top magnet off, and just put it to one side, not near anything that's made of metal. Then we can take the next one, slide that off, put it on the table away from the last magnet that we did, otherwise they'll all stick together. Slide off. We'll just do one more like that. Now, if you don't have a carrot stick, or if you haven't glued a stick of magnets to a stick. You'll just, at this point, have a length of magnets. Before you put this length of magnet down, put your dot on the end, and then you can put it away, because you know then which end you can come back to it and start doing it. But that's the advantage of the stick. Because that magnet is glued in, it'll always keep that polarity choice. That's cool. So that's stage one. Let that Sharpie sort of go off. Right, we now take our two pieces. Double check that they are fitting together nicely. Yes, we're happy. We're then going to consult the instructions, and they're going to tell us which way we want the magnet facing, i.e. which side we want to be purple. So in this case, we're at step 9 of the Carrack build, and the magnet wants to be facing, the purple side wants to be facing inward to the wing and pointing outward when we put it inside the fuselage, and then that will keep the polarities in the right direction. So to start with, we'll put the magnet into the wing with the purple side facing inwards. So how do we do that? Well, easiest way we have found, take your bit of sort of waxy paper, put yourself a nice little blob of glue on it. There you go. Take your cotton bud that you've pulled the end off, take a bit of the glue and put it into the hole. With these 5mm magnets, you don't want to be too stingy with the glue. You want to make sure it's properly coating it. And then with this stick, with the little bit of glue that's left on it, you're going to use that to pick up your magnet. Now obviously you want to pick it up from the opposite side to what you're putting in. So our purple side is facing upwards. We want to turn it over because we want to face it downwards. And we'll just use that stick, and that extra bit of glue that's on the stick will just hold it on so that you can place it in and get it into place. And then using the other end, wipe any glue off the surface to get it seated. And that's your magnet in. That's it. Now, here is the worst thing you can possibly do. Go, oh, I wonder if that was the right way around. I know, I'll get my stick of magnets and check. And what that's going to do is rip that magnet straight out. So you unfortunately have to just follow the process, be confident that you've done it, and then put this aside for the requisite time for that glue to dry. With a gel glue, that can be upwards of 10-15 minutes because it's a slow reacting glue. You could use an accelerant with the cyanoacetate glue, or if you're using a very thin super glue, it will go off a lot quicker. But for the time being, we're just going to put that aside. And while we're doing that, we'll do this one. So same process again. Take the glue, we're putting it all the way into the bottom of here, making sure we're getting a nice good coating. Again, we're going to pick our magnet up. Now this time, the magnet is facing outwards, so we've stuck our stick onto the purple side. I'm just going to place it down into the hole. Again, use the other side just to wipe it off. Now be aware that when you do that, the glue will actually lift the Sharpie off a little bit, so that's fine. So that's in that, and that's our gluing. So again, take a step back, put it aside, walk away. Okay, so we've waited our 5-10 minutes for our glue to dry. Very, very important. So one of the issues we had with these wings on the Carrack, and why we've had to go up to these massive magnets, is that when it's in landing mode, all the weight of the model is sitting on the landing gear that's on these wings. So that's why we've gone for it. It needs to be a strong connection. It needs to sit right. So now we've got our magnets in. Let's see how she goes. Oh yes, that's a good noise. Yeah, so that's the magnets just pulling that in. It's nice and stable now. There's no twist because of the shape of the plug. And then these are really, really, really quick to swap out. And then we can just stick our little turret in. And there we go. There's our in-flight Carrack wing with a turret on it. And that's how you do magnets. And as I say, this works for all of our models with magnets. It's a relatively simple system. The hardest part of it is just making sure that you've kept all your magnets separated enough on your table with the pen mark on the right side, and then you can't go wrong. So that's video 3. Tune in next time for video 4, where we'll be doing the gluing on the model. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Ta-da.